Uber Eats are playing us for fools, people, and here's 3 reasons why that should bother you. I'm David, this is Grocery Dad, and we need to talk about Uber Eats. Not the first video about it, and I doubt it'll be the last, but this is the Grocery Dad take on it. And that means if you've slipped into some bad food habits, or you think it's okay having your toilet paper delivered to your door by a guy on a scooter who's got hardly any workers' rights, this video could very well be for you. Because the truth is, if that is you, you might just be on your own scooter ride to nowhere. So let's go. Uber Eats and other similar delivery services are, in many ways, the epitome of our era. Ultra convenient, super easy, kind of trendy, kind of cool. I mean, just look at who they pay to do their advertising for them. Like, seriously, take a look. It's nuts what these customers spend on marketing. But despite what are some very entertaining adverts, this particular trend comes with some problems. Now, I'm focused here on what those look like for you, the customer, the one placing the order. Although that's certainly not the only group that might not be getting a great deal here. It's highly debatable whether those independent contractors doing the delivery are benefiting much in the long run from this so-called gig economy, and the average standalone restaurant may feel more than a little bit over a barrel when it comes to engaging with Uber and the others out there, given the 30% or so commission they're getting charged on every Uber delivery that goes out the door. However, I'd like to see a world in which people eat better for less money. So, my number one issue with Uber Eats is that it encourages you to eat shit and pay through the nose for it. I've used Uber Eats precisely 3 times, and the experience has been the same on every occasion. All 3 times, I was away from home, I had limited access to transport, and there wasn't much, if any, choice available to me within walking distance of the hotel I was in. Reluctantly, I turned to Uber. And without fail, the food turned up way later than was indicated on the app, and it was lukewarm on every occasion when it did arrive. Now, I can't really blame Uber for the quality of the food itself, but that too was piss poor. Despite all these disappointments, it was the cost that really blew my mind. And here's an example from one of my orders. The price of the food itself was a very reasonable, I think, $16.10. But the total cost ended up being, in my opinion, a very unreasonable indeed, $23.47. That's 45% more than was advertised at the outset. Now, if you happen to be in a hotel in the middle of butt-fuck nowhere, you haven't got much choice, and you probably have to swallow that premium. In all other instances, however, you probably do have choices, and you should not, therefore, even consider paying such a convenience premium. Order a takeout once in a while, sure, but go collect the damn thing yourself. Maybe $1 or 2 on petrol, but you'll avoid just about all of those add-on charges. Better still, get off your backside into the kitchen that your home presumably came with and use it to make yourself something lovely at a fraction of the cost. What kind of fraction am I talking about? Well, very likely that home-cooked meal comes in per portion at less than 10% of what you're paying for takeout. So, if I bought that meal I just showed you twice a week for a year, I'd wind up spending over $2,000 more on that food. Now you tell me you wouldn't prefer to keep that sort of money in your back pocket instead. But remember, it ain't just the price. Here's 3 things that takeout food is usually extremely high in, that will make you feel like shit, and also make you, how can I put it, massive. Too much sodium, by the way, increases your blood pressure and your risk of heart disease and stroke, and those 2 things together kill more Americans each year than anything else. So, go take out food. If that was as far as Uber Eats went, I'd be bothered, but probably not that concerned. But it turns out, of course, that those ambitious folks at Uber Tech HQ have far greater aspirations, because as we all know, it isn't just about getting your burrito bowl or your miso soup dropped to your door. No. As you surely know, they'll deliver almost anything. And this is my second big issue with Uber Eats. Just because they can, and they're willing to lose money in order to do it, doesn't make that a good idea, and it doesn't mean you should take them up on it. In the majority of cases, it's just playing to a wasteful, lazy self-indulgence that typifies many of the issues we see in modern Western society. I know a guy who used to get his McFlurries delivered to him. Nothing else, just a McFlurry. Now, he makes a lot of money, so paying $16.50 for his soft serve instead of $5 presumably didn't cause him much of an issue financially. But morally, is that okay? It's really f*** you sort of behaviour, isn't it? You know, I'm so filthy rich, I'm not even going to leave my house, let alone set foot in McDonald's, if I want one of their fatty delights put in front of my face. Now, as I said before, getting something pre-made delivered to you isn't that much of an issue as far as I'm concerned, and it certainly isn't a new idea. Going on the app right now, though, the first option I have is actually to get my groceries delivered, and this is where shit really gets crazy. In its bid to be the last man standing in this particular market, it seems Uber will deliver, regardless of how ridiculous the order is or how incredibly inefficient it is to fulfill it. And remember, Uber Eats is yet to become a consistently profitable part of their business. Now, according to Time Out last year, unscented toilet rolls and emergency contraceptives were top requests in 2023. So, what could I get my hands on down here in sunny Australia? Well, Coles is one of our major grocers, so I wonder what delights they have on there today. Let's see, shall we? Water. Well, everyone needs water, and why not get it in a bottle when it comes out of a tap 24/7 for a fraction of the price? 8 1.5 litre bottles of the stuff. It's a decent amount of liquid. Let's go for that. $7.05. Terrific. Bang one of those in the basket. Now, how quick do I need to get my hands on this water? Very. $3.99 seems reasonable. What's 60% more on the cost of the product? No, hang on, that looks like it's going to save me 5 minutes. Maybe not for me today after all. So, back to standard delivery. $7.05. Thank you very much. $20.52. Now that's a bit more than I was expecting. There is still a delivery charge and some other fees too. Tell you what, on second thoughts, I quite like tap water. And I can just, hang on. Here we go. Refreshing. While I would never in a million years actually hit order on that, clearly there are those who would. Uber Eats apparently has 88 million monthly users worldwide. And if any of them happen to be watching this video, all I can say is you're not doing yourself or your bank balance any favours. And whatever you do, please don't be fooled into thinking a regular monthly payment of $9.99 is the answer. The only thing that answers is the question, how much do you reckon we can bleed out of these suckers for doing nothing extra in return? Now, I'm sure someone can comment with an entirely lucid, reasonable, legitimate rationale for why it's important people can get hold of period relief products delivered to their door. And I'm not going to argue with that. In 90%? 95%? No way. 99% of all other cases, there's just no need for that kind of complacent extravagance. They want you to embrace doing less, but you should embrace doing more for yourself. Like learning to cook, like writing a shopping list, like getting yourself to the grocery store. But why is that so important? Well, I'll get back to that in just a moment. But before I do, let's get a conversation going. What is the weirdest shit you ever ordered from a delivery service? What's the one thing you regret most having ordered? Stick it in the comments, and if you decide you've had enough of their insult pricing and their fees on top of fees, you might want to check out this video to help you stay ahead of the sneaky tricks grocery stores will try and play on you instead. Right, let's get back to today's video. So, this brings me to my third major issue with Uber Eats. It's encouraging you to detach from your food. And what I mean by that is the tendency of some people nowadays to treat their diet and their food budget with only the slightest of regard, investing only minimal time and effort into what goes into their bodies, and just as little consideration around how much it's actually costing them. You might get away with this if you're in your 20s. You might even be able to blag it to some extent in your 30s. But believe me when I say the Uber Eats lifestyle is not a sustainable long-term strategy. And if you don't know what you're doing in the grocery store or the kitchen long before you hit 40, you're going to find yourself a poorer and paler version of what you could have been. Of course, it takes more effort to meal plan, to take inventory of your pantry, to write a list, and then go to the store and stick to it by making careful, mindful decisions. It's going to take more effort to cook the damn stuff too, but that is your obligation to yourself. Uber Eats doesn't give a shit if you're prepared to pay 3 times the price for things, instead of saving your money and putting it towards something that'll make a bigger difference to your life. Uber Eats doesn't give a shit if you eat enough crap to clog your arteries and get so big you couldn't even make it to the store if you wanted to. In fact, Uber Eats doesn't give a shit about the environment, the small business owner, workers' rights, food culture, food quality, or much else for that matter. So next time you see one of those cool adverts with McConaughey or De Niro in it, and it makes you want to grab your phone and press that little black and white app, go get yourself a grocery planning app instead. Because I promise you, almost anyone will be better off that way. Now, if you like this video, you could try giving it a like. And if you want help making better food choices that cost you less, then try subscribing to Grocery Dad instead of Uber Eats. See you next time.